I've wanted to do this video for quite some time because over the last 12 months, I've had more people email me than ever saying, I'm getting out of the city, I've got to move to the country, and we're going to pull the trigger, we're actually going to do it. Or maybe you want to stay in the city. Because after all, I hear that UCLA and Columbia are really, really nice this time of year. Whether we're just becoming more antisocial because we're coming out of COVID and it all just made us kind of weird, guilty, okay? Or maybe you just want to be more self-sufficient like your granddad was, like your grandma was, making canned goods and tomatoes out of the garden or whatever she did. That stuff is inspiring. Or maybe you're just trying to get a place for your family to bug out. I feel like I need to be Santa in the movie The Elf when he tells Buddy, if you're going to New York City, there's some things you should know, okay? So here, this video is about some of the biggest mistakes I feel like we can cover of people who are coming from the city or the suburbs moving out to the country. Mistake number one, y'all, is literally trying to own your land in the same way that you did back in the suburbs. This ain't a postage stamp back in the suburbs. You don't need to manicure every single tree and do everything. Look, live it a little wild. That's why you moved out here to begin with. Be a steward of your land instead of just thinking, I'm going to own my little postage stamp. Thomas Jefferson's house, Monticello, in Virginia. If you ever get a chance to see that, go up and see that. It is the perfect example of what I'm trying to talk about here. This was stewardship. Because land is just really an heirloom if you think about it. We're passing through this life and we're being a steward of the land while we're here, and we will hopefully pass it on to our kids or grandkids one day. Mistake number two I see a lot of people making is you will completely underestimate the amount of work that you have to do on a daily basis, including all those trips into town. You're going to be spending a good amount of time in your truck running back and forth into town trying to get supplies. So hopefully you got a good podcast or catch up on some Buddy Brown videos, okay? The number three mistake I see a lot of people make out here is being insane enough to tell anybody up and down this road how to live. This ain't no HOA. We don't have those kind of rules out here. We don't have any covenants. There's no meetings, and we like it that way. So don't try to start one, okay? So massive tip right here. Don't complain about anything in your area to the people that live around you. Don't do it. It just is not a good look. Instead, quietly fix those potholes or remove that fallen tree that's over the road or something like that with your chainsaw. When your neighbors drive by, they're going to take note of it, and all of a sudden you're going to earn a little thing called respect. On a side note, I recommend shooting up a firing range immediately and shooting whenever the hell you want. If your neighbor down the road is new to the country and complains, buy more ammo and shoot twice as much. Also, pee in your yard daily. It's a rite of passage and full expression of the freedom that we have here in America. Now, for the crowning jewel, because this state of mind right here is everything, we're going to need each other. The word neighbor out here is actually a verb, not a noun. Let that sink in for just a second. Because think about it, y'all. When people out here have a bunch of land, they typically don't seek out a whole bunch of help. But they always, always, always need it. And they're not going to ask for it, but they will tell you in conversation what kind of projects they're working on. If you're free, help them out. Be a good neighbor. They will return the favor for you when you need it. So remember, this ain't the suburbs. Neighbor is not a noun. It is a verb out here. The fence could break. The gravel could wash out in the driveway. Your animals could escape. You always have to be on your toes out here, like your Danny DeVito at the urinal. Most country folks that have a bunch of land and live out in the country have hearts of gold. You always say, come on down, marry our women, breathe our air, we don't care. There ain't but one thing we ask of you if you come down here from the suburbs out here to the country. You know what that is? We don't want to hear about how you used to do it back in Chicago.